Previously on Love Lewis.
God told me to buy a house. God told me to quit my job. We got rats, fam. We have them in the house. How are you expecting me to buy a house when you keep asking me to do these impossible things? November the 18th, 2019, they accepted the offer. And that jump-started us into the underwriting process. So during the underwriting process, of course, they started pulling out all of my back history, my past work experience, living experience, how much money I had in the bank at the time. Like, we were in a relationship. That's how intimate they were with me. That everything that I had done in the last 7 years, they knew or they needed. And so I had to go back all the way and bring up all this information so that it can be a clean record, so it can be a consistent record to present to the underwriter, right? I entered the underwriting process with $700. Y'all, I was just happy that they accepted my offer. $500 of those $700 went into the inspection. $200 it is. And I had to turn $200 into $535 for the appraisal and an additional $1,700 for reserves. Now, when we entered the underwriting process and they accepted my offer without a down payment, without a closing cost, which was another thing that I asked for on my list. The loan company still needed me to have $1,700 consistently in the bank, and they called it reserves. Y'all, I ain't have it, but my grandmother did. But I didn't want to ask. One, because of pride, and two, because I wanted to buy the house myself. I wanted to do it on my own. In the past, I always considered the idea that if I was to ever ask anyone for help, those same people could use that moment of vulnerability against me. I wasn't willing to open myself up to that possibility. But because I knew that God had brought me this far, literally by faith, it was by faith that I had to ask. And so I asked my grandmother for the money. And of course, she said, yeah, you're on the right path. You're doing the right things. Why wouldn't I do this for you? Ooh, tears, get back in there. After I jumped over so many hurdles, it was right in the middle of the process when things just began to shake up a little bit. My loan officer called me at work and said, hey, because we are not able to verify your student loan debts and your payments and how much you have left on it, because we can't verify that, we have to change your loan type. And if we change your loan type, that means you're going to have to come up with a down payment. And I was just like, yo, I don't have that. Glory be to the high name of my God, because somehow that money accumulated into my account on the day of closing. We did a final walkthrough of the house, and all of a sudden I noticed a stack of papers on top of the refrigerator. It was an offer put in on the house a month before me, and it was requesting all of these repairs for the house. All of the repairs were taken care of, but I guess the person before me didn't want the house anymore, or they just rejected the offer altogether. So God made sure that this house was in order before I came along to buy it. Everything on my list that I expected in a house, God took care of the month before I found it. 6 months ago, I was expecting to be in a house in my time frame. The house that I was praying for and I wanted to have in 6 months was not going to be ready until the 11th month. I really felt like throughout that entire process that I was holding my breath. So on the day of closing, we all went to the lawyer's place, right? I signed all the papers. It was a lot of papers, by the way. I signed. So everybody knew me as a shouter, somebody who praised God a lot, right? And so when I signed on my house, everybody was like, I know you was just shouting in the parking lot. But honestly, the greatest amount of praise that I gave God that day was an exhale. And in that moment, everything in the last year was worth it. And in 2020, I was now living in my new house. So God told me to buy a house. And what I couldn't do in 11 months, God manifested in 1. If I was to encourage anybody in this moment, I would say, if God said that you could, the only thing that's stopping you is you. But until next time, you guys, straight from my house, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I just kind of got really caught up thinking about the goodness of God while editing this video, and I just wanted to encourage y'all to let y'all know that whatever you're believing God for, He is faithful to perform it. And if I can't do anything else for y'all through this channel, I want to always remind y'all that God is in control and He loves you just as much as I do. So like this video simply because you love me, and like always, I'll catch y'all later.